In order to define ritual crime, we must first look at what ritual means. The term ritual covers a range of mundane and personal acts that are highly visible in public ceremonies. We as sociologists see rituals as practices including initiation, sacrifice, healing, protection, and worship of either gods or ancestors. There have been many public events in history of ritual crimes, such as the Salem witch trials in the 16th century, where many women were accused of witchcraft due to carrying out midwifery. As a result, women were drowned to their death as it was believed that they were a witch there to be able to save themselves from drowning. Although not all rituals are as innocent as this, in South Africa a much more sinister ritual takes place. Muti is a traditional black magic which uses human body parts and flesh as vital ingredients to make medicines. With over 50% of the population believing in this ritual, it is not uncommon. Body parts are taken from victims whilst they're alive, as it is believed their screams make the muti more potent. Muti murders are often brutal, with machetes and rocks to hack off limbs, breasts and other body parts. In spells where parts from deceased victims are required, they are often illegally obtained from hospitals or graveyards. Albino body parts are thought to make the spells more grateful. Witch doctors, also known as Sagamis, are trusted advisors on matters of body, mind and spirit. They claim to help infertility, high cholesterol, infidelity and even a broken heart. By grinding up human body parts and mixing them with roots, herbs and seawater, Sagamis are able to help prepare potions for their clients which can either be rubbed onto the skin or open wounds or ingested. Although witch doctors never set out to specifically kill their victims, it is often a common consequence. In South Africa, there is such a big demand for muti that since 2001 in Johannesburg, a market has been set up where body parts and even victims can be bought and sold. In South Africa, a significant number of both children and adults are killed every year as a result of muti medicine. However, it is difficult to get a precise statistic as many murders go undiscovered for months, even years. With an increase of immigration and globalisation, Western societies are also seeing these ritualistic crimes. In 2001, a torso of a young boy was found floating in the River Thames by the Globe Theatre. Although muti was ruled out due to the boy's genitals being intact, police are certain that the murder had a ritualistic aspect to it.
A body pulled from the Thames. A boy brutally murdered. September 2001. The torso of an African child is found in the river, his arms, legs and head cut off. Police believe he was sacrificed in a ritual killing. Despite searches across London, officers couldn't find out who the boy really was, so they named him Adam.
In memory of Adam.
They had two clues, a pair of shorts he was wearing and forensic tests which showed he was from Nigeria.
In previous years, many murders have been linked to rituals. However, this rise cannot be said whether this is due to more light coming to the problem or if there's an actual increase of incidents. However, one crime that's highly recorded is serial killings. Many of these crimes have a ritualistic aspect to them. Dennis Nilsen is an example of these ritualised killings. Between December 1978 and February 1983, he killed 15 young boys. His victims were often homeless or students, as he believed these were less likely to be missed by their families. After meeting them in bars, he invited them back to his house, where he would provide more alcohol before either strangling or drowning them. After the killing, he performed a ritual where he bathed and dressed the bodies, then placing them either under the floorboards or in his wardrobe, bringing them out in the evening to provide company. Although the full extent of this has never been explained, it's believed he used to masturbate and have sex with the bodies. He would keep them for extended periods of time until their bodies began to decay. In his first home, he was easily able to dispose of the bodies by burning them in his garden. However, moving to a flat in the middle of his killing spree became problematic. He was no longer able to burn the bodies without causing suspicion. As a result, he dismembered the bodies, boiled heads, hands and feet on the stove and chopped up other body parts into small pieces. He would then flush these down the toilet of his top floor flat. This then caused a blockage, producing an unpleasant smell, leading to other residents to call for a plumber to unblock the drain. When the plumber began to investigate the problem, he was forced to call the police after finding human remains. After Nilsen was arrested, body parts were found in a black bag in a wardrobe and other body parts found boiling on a stove. He believed he killed 16 victims, however it was later found to be 15. The motive for these murders are unknown. However, police believe he killed in order to keep the victims for company.
Body in the fantasies.
And so what do you do with him?
Carry him in, make him appear even better. I had some sort of Y fronts in cellophane in a vest. I put that on him because it enhanced his appearance in some way.
And then what?
Well, I would undress him and sort of, he would be there. I was, in fact...
What would you do with the body? Would you leave it on the floor, wrapped up, or would you do other things with it?
The most exciting part of the little conundrum was when I lifted the body, carried it. It was an expression of my power to lift and carry and have control. And the dangling element of limp limbs was an expression of his passivity.
Yes. So his
these
passivity...
two opposite things. I mean, it was my power and his passivity. The more passive he could be, the more powerful I was. The bodies are all gone. Everything's gone. There is nothing left. But I still feel in a spiritual communion with these people.
There wasn't room to put another one in there, so he'd have to pull them out, and then he'd get rid of them on a bonfire in the back garden. He had 3 fires in all, 2 in the garden and 1 out here on this wasteland. He said in one particular paper that the victim is the dirty platter after the feast, and the washing up was a clinically ordinary task. We couldn't find a motive for it. The only thing that we could come up with was the fact that he invited people home because he hoped somebody was going to stay with him. And every time, or nearly every time, at the end of a good drink, at the end of an evening, his visitor would get up and go away. And on 15 occasions, this was too much for him. And he killed, and on more than one occasion, he left his victim sitting in a chair, upright, but dead. And maybe he thought, coming home from work the next day, albeit he's dead, there's somebody to come home to. I don't know.
He came to court and he pleaded guilty.
Serial killers can be linked to Durkheim's concept of collective consciousness. By committing these transgressive acts, they provide a society with a sense of togetherness, as people have a common feeling of hatred towards them, and therefore reinforcing structures in society. To conclude, many ritualised crimes take place all over the world, in both Western and Eastern cultures. Although many go unrepresented, it is clear to see the vast amount of ritualised crime occur each year. By taking a sociological perspective on this phenomenon, we can see how this transgressive act benefits society by reinforcing a collective consciousness and strengthening social norms.